Hi, welcome to this video about my walking robot of fischertechnik with the TXT controller Mirft2. In the previous episodes I have tried to solve some stability issues, and I noticed that gearing and program kind of work, but with some hassles. And another problem is that if you look at it, this is not really straight, which is partly caused by the force that the leg puts on the gearing. And if you look at all four gears at the edges, they show the same behavior. After narrowing these guides, it's a little bit solved, but not enough by far. And this of course has to be solved. Can be done in a few ways, but one of the ways that could be is to put a longer axis in it and make sure that it is stabilized somewhere here and on the other side as well, so that the gear stays in place. When the gear stays in place, this will stay in place, and maybe it can walk better, because with all this friction and not exactly in line being gears, it just makes it harder. So that is focus 1 for now. So let's see how I can solve this. I added another stone like this here, replaced the short axis by an axis like this, and it looks like that the problem has not exactly been solved, because it's still very flexible here, and despite that it can move easily in this direction, this can happen as well, which is not the intention. However, looking at the axis, that will be replaced anyway, because of this very flexible nature, and that is the big problem right now. So I have to replace at least this axis, and the other ones I still have to add by a metal axis which is not flexible. So with that solved, I hope that the gear stays in line and that it gives resistance against this force of the leg. So that's up next. Replacing this axis by a metal axis looks like the correct solution. I keep using 2 of these stones, but it is perfectly aligned, so that certainly was the solution. However, I don't have a shorter metal axis, which is unfortunate, not that I can find anyway. So there's a problem with this side, because as you can see the axis is longer than halfway. So what I can do is replace this one by one twice as long, but it is more than twice as long, so this may give a problem with the legs. But it solves anyway the big problem of the axis being longer than half, and it also saves 2 stones. So let me try to fix it that way. The longer axis fits nicely, but there's a complicating factor. And that complicating factor is that this directly connects both gears and disables the independence of the motors. So if I decide to run both motors apart from each other, this axis disables that. So when I want to move the gears apart, this axis is not possible, and I will have to find a way to combine 2 of the shorter axes or find one that is really short. So this idea, although quite nice, is a giving a motoric problem. So out of the question. And I'll have to restore the previous situation with the shorter axis and see how I combine in length these two. And with all gears with attached to the legs being provided with metal axis, they are aligned now properly. But if you look at, for instance, this leg, it looks like the guidance is way too flexible. It should be like this, guiding it nicely, but when you look at this, it's, let me turn it better, this is not like the leg should be, because in this way, when you turn it around, it will have way too much trouble to be operated. And if you look at it like this, it becomes clear. So, although being a nice idea, I guess I will have to replace it somehow with a better solution, probably with the same material as this, and then looking like that, in the same form but thicker and more robust. That said, let's try to run it again. Once again using the Android tablet. Which I have to connect first. And I have first to connect it to the interface. We connect finally. Right, and now I'm here again. So and let's run it. And so much for an experiment. So let me hold it up, see what happens. Not really convincing. And you see there's way too much flexibility in the legs, so it won't even stand right now. So that is a problem that has to be solved quite soon. Unfortunately, this leads to a halt on other issues such as the programming. Because without a proper guidance to the legs, the motors won't be able to drive the gears, and that is a key issue for driving for a walking robot in this case. So I guess that is up next. And that times 4, of course. Another issue may be that this will prove to be too flexible, but we'll see about that. As a temporary solution for this extreme flexibility, I have replaced these pieces by this one, and it is longer, has 4 connection points, and that proves handy because I'm using short breaks like this under here, and that turns out to be limiting the whole thing. So it is not as flexible because it has 4 points, of which 2 are well, making it a little bit more rigid, but also when you look at the legs, they are limited in their movement. And here you can see it even better. It looks better this way. So I think this may be just a solution. The only thing is, will it work? The answer to that is, let's just see. And let's just run it again. And it doesn't do anything. So let me lift it from the table, because here the sheer motor power needed, and yes, that is the problem. The motors are not strong enough to drive it. And there you just have a nice run. not that one. And I'm still running everything. And the question is, why doesn't it do anything now while it clearly moved previously? And I think why? Because here it is in the end of its run, and that is the first thing it does. So when I move this right up here and check for the check for the other positions, I move this one right here just for testing. Let's run again. Not much difference. So that was not the solution. But when it just stands on its feet, it is more rigid than it used to be. So that's an improvement. Although the software needs a lot more attention. Also, I need to find out, thanks to well, not really thanks to, but my attention was taken to a comment from a viewer. Thank you for that. And also this person said the motors may be not strong enough for the whole setup. And now we're having only 4 legs, let alone 6 legs. And I already have the gears ready, but well, that is for the next stage when I solved more problems. So I think the next time it is all software based. See if I can solve that. So the focus for now was replacing some of these and getting the gear in line. Well, I succeeded with that. Let me put the camera a little bit higher. They're all in line now, so that's much better. So let's see what happens next time. Thank you for watching, and to be continued.